Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris and today I thought I would do a quick tour of my front yard so you can see the progress that has been made so far and the huge amount of progress that still needs to be made. So if you didn't see the video where I kind of walked you through my front yard as it was, I'll link that video down below so you kind of have an idea of where we started and how far we've gotten over probably a month and a half. We'll start just here in the front. From my last video, I don't think I really did much up here. So I had some poppies up here. They're not really growing very well. My cosmos have kind of died out. My orange prince, it's super early in the morning. It's about 7:30 in the morning here. So some of the flowers will open up as the day goes along. My irises are all done for the summer. My coleus is looking pretty good. It's definitely getting munched on and it hasn't grown a whole lot, but it's doing okay. I haven't really done much of anything with this little shady area. I did notice that I have a coral bell that's starting to come up. I had planted that last year, so that's nice to see that coming back. My Lenten rose is all done blooming for the year. So is my bleeding heart. So this area looks pretty bland at the moment. As you walk up into my yard, this plant right here, in my first video, I thought for sure that was going to be a foxglove because that's what I had planted in that space. But this mullein plant has decided to take over, which is fine. I'm pretty okay with growing some mullein in my yard. I've been harvesting the flowers here to make some oil. Mullein's really good for respiratory issues, and the flowers especially, if you dry them, infuse them into an oil, and adding garlic to that oil, it really makes a really nice earache oil. So that's my goal with these flowers. I still have some things in here that haven't been planted. I think there's a few cosmos. This plant right here is a tobacco plant that my friend gave me that I really need to get planted. My salvia is coming up again. It's looking really nice. My lavender plants are both doing really well. They get a little bit better each year. I didn't think this cardinal plant was going to come back, but it surprised me and decided to pop up. This plant seems to be especially good at attracting hummingbirds. They just seem to love it. My chicory is just starting to open for the day. These flowers are so pretty. I really love the blue color of them. I put some straw flowers right beside it. They're only about a foot tall. They're not very big, but they are pretty and nice. Added a nice little pop of color. Over here, I decided to put in some kale. Now, I didn't really have any place to put that in the backyard, so I decided to plant it up here in the front. It's doing okay, but I'm pretty certain it's been visited by slugs, and I know for positive sure it's been visited by bunnies because my husband has caught bunnies in this area when he's come home from work in the morning. My comfrey here has kind of been trampled, so it's not really looking that great. It did have some nice blooms on it. I'll probably just take this part off. Actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And what I'll do is I'll just dry this and I'll end up infusing it in oil. I really like comfrey in my healing salve. It's really great to help your skin cells regenerate. So if you have a more shallow wound, comfrey is awesome with helping it heal. Now, if you have a deep wound, like a puncture wound or something like that, then comfrey is not something you want. It will help skin cells regenerate so quickly that it won't heal the deep tissue underneath and you'll end up with an abscess. So that is my very front area of the yard. My cherry tree here isn't doing so good. In fact, half of it is dead. I'll probably just end up taking it out. I don't really think it's worth saving. I have a couple of onions here that are left over from last year that are actually doing a whole lot better than I expected, which is kind of nice. I put this planter that I built there. I have another one that needs to be built that I was going to put right here, and I just haven't gotten to that yet. So this area where I had really big plans is still looking pretty messy. So I have this tarp and all of this cardboard down to help kill the grass. So what I had planned is I had planned a path that starts right here, goes down, goes back there, through this area to curve around and then go over to my driveway over here. This cardboard here kind of marks the path, just like this cardboard and tarp marks the path over here. I just don't have the rock to start building the path yet. But I do have some plants in this area. This is all yarrow. And then I have 2 acorn squash that have made an appearance. There's going to be a trellis that goes right here. And that the acorn squash on this side, and then the 2 butternut squash on this side, right there, and right there. They will climb up that trellis. There is one side of the trellis, but that's all I have. Hopefully in the upcoming week, I'll be able to go pick up the 2x4s that I need to go ahead and finish that trellis. My wall of sunflowers here are growing pretty well. I don't have any blooms yet, but you can see that they are starting to develop in a few of these. So that's going to be really pretty. To be honest, I don't think this is going to look as nice as I had intended for it to look, just because I was going to build a fence behind it to kind of differentiate between my yard and my neighbor's yard, and I didn't get that done. So it's going to have these really pretty sunflowers right in front of a whole bunch of weeds. But those are not my weeds to take care of, so I'm not touching them. Hopefully the sunflowers will overshadow them, so there will at least be some beautiful pop of color up here. These are some more sunflowers that I planted, and I planted them from seed out here instead of those which were starts. And I planted them probably at least 3 weeks after. So they're much smaller, but they are catching up. My pickling cucumbers here are doing pretty well. There's a few of them that have gotten some flowers on them. This one right here and right over there. And they are starting to climb up this trellis. This is my cucumber trellis, and the board's kind of warped a little bit, but that's fine. It'll still be perfectly fine. And I still have one more board to put up on the top to finish the top off. But overall, I actually think it's kind of a fun thing. These are my slicing cucumbers. They're doing all right. Kind of growing slow. See if I can get that towards the trellis, but that's okay. They're catching up, and they still have plenty of time to grow. So we walk through the trellis here. The rudbeckia is just starting to develop its flowers. So those are going to be a nice pop of color here pretty soon. The echinacea that we started together is doing really well over here. It seems to be really happy. So I'm excited about that. And then my ginormous cherry bush here actually needs to be harvested. So I am planning on harvesting some of this today. I did trim some of the bushes that were over here because this cherry had really expanded throughout this entire area. So I trimmed a little bit over here, so that's gone. Now I just have a bunch of weeds to take care of. I feel like the theme of my front yard basically is weeds. It would have been moss too, but the tarp and the cardboard here have really helped kill that off. I do have the dirt to lay out in this area, and since my yard kind of has this slope downward, what I was planning on doing is having the dirt right here and have kind of a bed right here that meets the path over here, and then have a little retaining wall that goes right here, and then having the second bed and then the path right there. As the path curves over here, I was going to do the same thing. Have a little retaining wall and then have the path so it's flat, because this, you probably can't really tell, but this is also sloped down towards the street. So I was going to take the retaining wall, run it around this corner and over here, and then have a bed right here, and then the path right here, and then the bed down there. That's my progress so far out here in the front yard. It certainly isn't as much as I would have liked, but at least it's some. Unfortunately, I haven't turned my yard into something that's actually pretty and not an eyesore yet. In fact, my neighbors probably think it's even more of an eyesore because I have cardboard and tarps laying down, but hopefully that will change. I've just been crazy busy, so this has not been a huge priority for me. Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to try to tackle a little bit more of this, and I'll let you know if I manage to get that done. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, and if you hit the bell right next to the subscribe button, you'll get notifications when I upload my next video. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.